This documentary includes graphic descriptions of eating disorders, mental health disorders, and body shaming. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yeah, people just don't realize how intensive these disorders are. It's the second leading cause of death among psychiatric disorders. I believe that's behind substance use. Everything for me started when I was in 8th grade. That's when I started a new school. And I was the new girl, and it's just an easy target at that point. Everyone likes to pick on you. Everyone likes to point out your differences. So body image for me started then. I was just really hyper aware of how I looked, how I presented myself, what I was saying, what I was doing, just everything.
I got diagnosed with an eating disorder at age 14. I struggled with an eating disorder through all that. I struggled a lot with depression, anxiety, and all that kind of stuff too. I had, and still do, have really bad body image days, but when I was in my eating disorder and going through treatment and stuff, it wasn't more about what I looked like and worrying about how others viewed me. It was more worried about how I felt in my body, and it didn't matter what I looked like.
It wasn't until about high school where things really started changing with my eating patterns. I made the varsity team for volleyball in high school my junior year. I really wanted to be the best, and that was really important to me. So I started exercising even more than what we were required to do. I really started to watch what I was eating so that it wouldn't make me slower or that it wouldn't make me gain weight. I was performing well and things were working for me, and everyone was showing me praise, and I never had gotten that before. What was most important to me was being the best athlete, but also being the skinniest person in the room. So that really resonated with me all throughout college too. And that's when things really got worse for me, was about senior year of college. I lost a lot of weight. I was the same size, if not smaller, than I was in 8th grade, which was really scary. My doctors were telling me if I kept doing what I was doing, I wouldn't make it past 25 at the time, and I believe I was 21 years old.
When I turned 18, I was in and out of treatment centers my whole entire senior year of high school. I ended up going cyber school mainly because I was bullied my whole entire life too, and I was bullied up to senior year of high school. So I said, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm just going cyber school. And I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to get better. I didn't see a purpose in me anymore. My mom was literally scared out of her mind that I was just not gonna make it. And I was told multiple times by multiple providers telling me, you're never gonna get better. Things are never gonna get better for you. You're just like a chronic case at this point, and you're gonna spend the rest of your life basically in and out of treatment centers, intense therapy, all that kind of stuff. So kind of that filled in my head, never gonna get better. Cool, let me just focus on that.
I decided to get treatment and take that big step that not a lot of people take, and I decided that this disorder wasn't going to define me or take me. A higher level of care was appropriate at the time, and I started at a partial hospitalization program, which is the Emily program in Beechwood. I did that for a month and I didn't feel anything, and they said if you don't feel any different now, we need to get you in a higher level of care even more. So that's when I went to residential, and that really changed me. And a lot of how I am today is because of that experience that I had where they were monitoring me 24/7.
In 2020, I ended up in August or September, I was in a hospital I was like on their intensive care unit, but like the step down from the intensive care unit for a whole month. They flew me out to a place in Colorado, and I was there from 2020 to June of 2021, all in Colorado the whole time. I was like on their highest intensive care unit for a very long time, but while I was there, I met so many amazing staff and like people that actually finally had like the faith in me and like really pushed me to do better in life. They gave me so much tough love. They told me like, Maddie, you gotta do this. They were like my saving grace. Like, I swear they saved my life.
It was the hardest point of my life, but it was definitely the best because I'm here. I was able to marry the person that I wanted to marry, and now we have a cute little dog and a good family, and I'm going back to school, getting an education.
I'm going to school. I live on my own. I have a girlfriend that I've been living with for like 3 years now. I've gone to concerts, I've traveled, I am doing things I want to do.
And I wouldn't, even though they were really hard days, I wouldn't take them for all the happy days that I'll have left.
The show focuses on body positivity. We show all shapes and sizes on the runway, all ages, all genders. It's a whole evening about beauty and body positivity. I unfortunately did not get to have Danielle in class and know her, but my colleague, Dr. Priscilla Gidamu, had her in class and got to know her, and so she started the show in her memory. And then I have been in charge of it since 2018. In 2019, I met Ann Hall. She is the owner of the Hall Institute in Beechwood, Ohio. They are one of the largest eating disorders counseling centers in the state of Ohio, and they provide speakers every year for us. They bring a little bit of an educational element to the show and a face to eating disorders. And you know, it's really an awesome experience to hear somebody's bravery and somebody who has come so far in their recovery journey.
I gave my speech in 2021. I talked about sort of just overall my journey through the whole process from beginning to where I ended up at that point. But that's the first time I think I've ever talked in front of 300 to 500 people about my story. So it was really daunting and scary, but it definitely was so worth it because at the end I was like, all of these people may not have known what this was before, and now they can walk away with it. Hopefully at least something that I was able to provide for them.
Talking at the event, not only did it help others, but it really helped me in my recovery to speak that early, because then I'm like, okay, getting a little taste of like, this is what you could be doing, Maddie, if you continue this path.
It really brought to me like a full circle moment of like, before I would have been worried about like what I looked like and like how I felt in my body, and now I'm just happy that this is being showcased and like broadcast to a large audience.
I really loved it. Everyone was so nice. I loved the like body positivity that goes into the fashion show.
I wish that happened more on like a broader scale with like bigger brands like Victoria's Secret or like pretty much anything, so that people can realize like this is how it should be, and it's not just about like the skinny like 5'10" girl. It's about like everybody.
We have had a very negative impact on beauty standards, and I say that loving being in the fashion industry.
When I was growing up, like it was a lot of like low-rise jeans and like skinny like crop tops and a lot of skin showing and just super revealing, and you could see just like everything. So I was like, oh, I want that flat stomach and I want mine to be flatter.
You used to just see your 6 feet and above, tall, skinny, white model. And a parent, you know, once in a while you would see an African American model or, you know, an Asian model, but it was few and far between. I know growing up, I never saw myself represented. I looked at Cindy, I looked at Naomi, I looked at them and thought, well, why don't I look like that? And I would be much more beautiful if I looked like that.
When you interact with any kind of media whatsoever, you have that sense of how other people feel about things. It's impactful in regard to creating certain standards of what attractiveness is, what beauty is. And what's so sad about it is so many people don't realize that everything has been touched and retouched and morphed and adjusted. So very rarely do we see the real person.
Depending on what the trend is in social media is how people are going to view themselves with these big influencers that are in that trend and doing it right. And like, if you don't look exactly like them, then you're wrong.
It's just becoming more harmful for younger generations and starting at such a young age that they don't really realize too.
Especially with females, they go online, there's a lot of social comparison with body types. And so that leads to eating disorders. It's directly linked. Even if you go off of social media, take a look at any of the male fitness magazines. You have guys that are so ripped, so cut. You know, it's not a 6-pack ab anymore. You've got to have a 12-pack ab. And so that sets up those same things too.
A lot of people think that it just affects skinny, white, affluent girls, and that is not the case at all. Last year we had our first male speaker who shared his story.
It affects everybody from men, non-binary, to transgender, especially people who have different religions, especially too, different races, ethnicities. It just affects everybody.
Right now, I feel like we're in an age where we're now finally starting to see beauty in all body types. And it's been a long, slow process, and it's been a very bumpy road, but at least we're aiming towards that, which is really, really nice. It's a great change of pace.
Of course, one show is not going to change the world, but it does show some people, and you know, like, where do you start? You start small. You start with, you know, showing a few people like, hey, it's okay to look however you do look, however you want to look. It's your body. That's what's important.
A lot of our models, and especially our repeat models that do it every year, say that it's the chance for them to feel beautiful when they get on the runway. They aren't the typical, like we talked about, 6 feet tall, skinny. You know, they represent you and I. They represent all of us, and they say this is their chance to show their beauty and show their style on the runway. So I think that's important. It gives them a chance to feel beautiful and have fun with fashion.
It shows that any body type can pull off anything, but it also shows for the people that are maybe not in your standard modeling type body, like, this is what this looks like on you, and that people are modeling in this body type, and it's okay to dress this way.
I love how fashion reflects who you are, and getting to see everybody being who they are, all in one spot, all looking different because we've got different categories with wildly different kinds of outfits.
Seeing that is just another way to promote, like, this is what is supposed to be normal and not the things and all the bullshit that you see on TV and on TikTok and in the media. And this is what we should be celebrating, and this is what we should be promoting. And I love that that's what happens every year. It's really great.
My goal is the same every year. I want everybody to leave feeling beautiful. If every person walks out feeling good about themselves, then my goal has been achieved. And if we have the opportunity to help somebody that might be struggling with an eating disorder or struggling with their body image, that's an added bonus.
"90% of the time, I don't like what I look like. I wish I could wear a disguise, 'cause all of my jeans are too tight. In every photo I see of myself, I look so uncomfortable. I wish my hair was longer and wish I was taller. Wish I could breathe and just be comfortable in my own skin. I'm tired of trying to fit in. Is there anybody listening? 'Cause I just wanna scream, hold up! Why do we care so much about what everybody's thinking? Everybody's thinking too much about everyone else. I'm tired of believing that there's something wrong with me. Who cares about
If you or a loved one is struggling with an eating disorder, there is help available. Please call the National Association of Anorexia Nervosa and Associated Disorders at 888-375-7767.